Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you very much for joining us. We will begin with the Philippine National Anthem to be followed by a short prayer.
Bayang magiliw, pero sa silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, guyang ka ng mabiting, sa manlulubi, di ka pasisi. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simuyan, sa langit mabaga, may nilagang pula, tayo sa paglayong minamahal. Ang kislat ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na naniningin. Ang bituin na taro ng kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw na malagi pasinta buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang higaya ng pag may mga api ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. In Him alone is our strength. In Him alone are we justified. In Him alone are we saved. What have we to offer that does not fade or wither? Can the world ever satisfy the emptiness in our hearts? In vain we deny. In Him alone is our hope. In Him alone is our strength. In Him alone are we justified. In Him alone are we saved. When the new seas running in search of hallowing, let His love feed the hunger in your soul till it overflows with joy you yearn to know. In Him alone is our alone is our Him alone is our strength. For Him alone are we justified. In staying with His love are we saved. In Him alone is our alone is our Him alone is our strength. Don't be justified in staying with His love.
To the esteemed educators of the Schools Division of Marikina and everyone tuning in with us this morning, magandang umaga po ulit sa inyong lahat. Kumusta kayo? Welcome to our webinar on the use of Math Plus apps for blended learning. I am Dr. Jumela F. Sarmiento, and I will be your moderator for today. To formally welcome us to this event, let us hear from the head of SDO Marikina, OIC Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Cheryl T. Gayola. Hello, Ma'am Cheryl.
Hello, good morning po sa inyong lahat. Magandang umaga. And of course, good morning po sa lahat po ng mga teachers ng SDO Marikina who's with us right now who will happily learn sa atin pong training ngayong araw na ito. We are fast approaching the opening of classes in August 24. And I know a lot of you are maybe anxious but excited because we are forced to move out of our box, and it's a good thing because we are going to try something new. That is the reason why you are all excited. But I know you're a little anxious because especially for mathematics as a subject area, siguro you're thinking right now, kung araw-araw nga nakasama ng mga estudyante yung kanilang teacher, there are learners who really struggle when it comes to math. Lalo na kaya the teachers will not be there physically present while the learners are accomplishing their modules. So that's the reason why we're looking for ways on how we can assist you and make the situation a little more easier for us to face. So we are very thankful that we have partners who are willing to help us overcome whatever trial meron tayo ngayon sa education. And this is one of them. And Ateneo is one of our good partners who are willing to extend their help for us to make the distance learning education experience more meaningful for our learners. The mathematics application that you are going to explore right now is a way of ensuring that our learners will be more excited to learn mathematics. No? It's very important that our learners are excited sa kanilang pag-aaral, no? Lalo na sa mathematics. Because in the absence of that excitement, no, hindi masyadong mas magiging malalim yung or learning. So, you are going to explore right now, but my request is for all of you to exploit in a good way the mathematics application so that our learners will gain more and our teachers of course will feel more satisfied that their students are learning even in their physical, yeah, in the absence of the teacher in front of the learners. So welcome to this training, and please engage. Please ask questions because it's very important that before we end this training, you know how to utilize the app, and it can be integrated, well integrated in the modules that you will be utilizing for this school year. So welcome to all of you. And again, I would like to extend my gratitude to Ateneo de Manila University and the Department of Science and Technology for this great opportunity. Magandang umaga po. Marami pong salamat.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gayola. Sana nga ma-replace yung anxiety with excitement, no? For the coming school year. So I will now give a short introduction on the Math Plus apps and will also introduce the project team from Ateneo de Manila University. Anytime during the presentation, we invite you to type your questions in the comment section. We will try to answer your question at the Q&A portion of this webinar. This webinar is made possible through our project entitled Technology Innovations for Mathematical Reasoning, Statistical Thinking, and Assessment by the Math Plus team, funded by the Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technology, Research and Development, and implemented by Ateneo de Manila University in coordination with the University of Southern Mindanao. We are grateful to the Department of Education, Marikina City, for organizing this webinar. Special thanks to Dr. Cheryl Gayola and Dr. Elisa Cerveza, OIC Assistant Division Superintendent and Chief Education Supervisor. The project is currently ongoing and aims to create a digital mathematics learning environment where Filipino children can learn mathematics and think by and for themselves in solving mathematics problems. The digital learning environment consists of 10 digital mobile applications with accompanying user manuals for grades 1 to 10 mathematics. It also has a large-scale database for assessment and a large-scale database for statistical learning, or what we call Censo Escuela Pilipinas. This project is a continuation of the DOSTP shared project that ran from 2015 to 2018, entitled Development of Interactive Software and Teaching Guides for Grades 7 to 10 Mathematics. The project was aimed to facilitate the implementation of mathematical objectives raised by the Department of Education's K-12 program through the use of innovative digital technologies. In particular, a selection of application softwares or apps were created for grade 7 to 10 mathematics that covered topics indicated in the 5 strands outlined in the K-12 program, namely numbers, geometry, measurements, patterns and algebra, statistics, and probability. The design of the app was informed by an amalgamated framework of the cognitive theory of multimedia learning and mathematical theories of representation. These applications were field tested among students and faculty members from private and public high schools. In addition, the team created teaching guides and conducted teacher training in various parts of the country to orient teachers and educators on the use of the application. Now allow me to introduce the current team members who make up the project. We first have our project team leader, Dr. Maria Luis Antoinette de las Peñas. She's a professor of mathematics in the Ateneo Mathematics Department and is also currently an Associate Dean of Research and Creative Work in the Ateneo Loyola Schools. She's a column editor of the Math Tourist for the journal Mathematical Intelligencer. Next, we have Dr. Maria Alba Aberin, who is an assistant professor of the Ateneo Mathematics Department and is a board member of the Philippine Council of Mathematics Teachers Educators Incorporated. With her is Mr. Len Patrick Dominic M. Garces, who's currently doing PhD Math at the University of South Australia. He's a former lecturer in the Math Department and Economics Department of Ateneo de Manila University. We also have Dr. Mark Loyola, who is an assistant professor of the Ateneo Math Department, and yours truly, Jumela Sarmiento, an associate professor of the Ateneo Mathematics Department and former president of the Mathematical Society of the Philippines. Following me is Dr. Mark Anthony C. Tolentino, associate chair of the Math Department and assistant professor also of the Math Department. Next is Dr. Debbie Marie P. Versosa, a former member of the Ateneo Math Department, who is now an associate professor of the University of Southern Mindanao. She is currently a board member of the Philippine Council of Mathematics Teachers Educators, or MathTED. Finally, we have our project staff and research assistants, Ms. Jen Nicole Kalimlim and Lara Micaela Torres, who both hold master's degree in applied mathematics, major in mathematical finance from Ateneo de Manila University. So these are the members of our project team. Now, without further ado, let us hear from Dr. Ninette de las Peñas to give an introduction on the use of apps for blended learning. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Luis Antoinette de las Peñas. Hello, Lynette.
Hello. Hello, good morning, Dr. Sarmiento. Good morning, Jumela. And good morning to all the teachers from Marikina who are joining us in today's webinar. So we're here once again. Last week, we also uh, joined the grade school teachers. We gave a webinar, and this time we're here again. And we're very much pleased to be in partnership and collaboration with DepEd Marikina. So I would like to take this chance to thank Dr. Cheryl Gayola. Thank you very much to you and to Ms. Elisa Cerveza for giving us the chance to share our resources with Marikina. So it's really a pleasure to be working with you at this time of the pandemic, where we join hands and work out things for the betterment of education in the country. So let me bring my presentation to the screen. So as Dr. Sarmiento mentioned, I'm going to give an overview of our Math Plus applications or Math Plus apps, which we have designed and may be used for blended learning. So actually, we started this project in 2016, and our apps were designed to align to the official curriculum followed by the Department of Education's K to 12 program. As explained by Dr. Sarmiento earlier, the apps that we designed address the five strands of mathematical learning as follows. In mathematics, specifically, the use of technology is encouraged. In fact, the CG states we recognize that the use of appropriate tools is necessary in teaching mathematics. These include calculators and computers, smartphones and tablet PCs, and the internet. So even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the DepEd has already supported the use of technology through its DepEd computerization program. So briefly, this program aims to equip schools with ICT, such as laboratory packages and electronic classrooms, to raise the level of ICT literacy and improve the teaching and learning process. Now, driven by the COVID-19 pandemic, DepEd faces the challenge transitioning to blended learning. Blended learning encompasses a wide range of learning modalities, including online learning, printed modules, radio, and television. We propose to supplement these options with interactive math applications that may be played at home. So the apps are guided by the following principles. The apps are free, can be played with limited supervision, are aligned with the depth and most essential learning competencies, and are interactive. So the first thing we considered was access. So the apps are designed to be free, and users need the internet at one time only during download. So if a student or a teacher has no internet access, another option is to copy the file from another device using wireless transfer or an external device such as a USB. Second, we wanted the apps to be ready to use or ready to play. So since students are probably not with their teachers, they should be able to figure out how to use the apps even with minimal instruction. Students can play or use the apps at their own time. Thus, teachers may assign the apps as supplementary material for mathematical learning. So the apps are based on the official DepEd curriculum. Aside from that, we talked with teachers, math heads, and principals to ensure that the apps are suitable for Filipino learners. And we have also assigned the apps to align with the K to 12 most essential learning competencies. Finally, the apps were designed to be interactive and dynamic. These are unlike static worksheets where students can just do drill and practice. In all grade levels, the apps facilitate exploration, visualization, and justification. So, as I will show later in this webinar, there are also apps for proving mathematical theorems. The apps also provide instant feedback. So for grade 7 to 10, teachers may ask students to submit their answers or conjectures, and students may work in groups and give comments to classmates and teammates. So our apps are proven by research. Our studies have shown that students responded positively to the use of mathematical apps and that there is a significant increase in students' performance after exposure to the apps. So our work has been published in several Scopus journals. Here are some which you can see on the screen, such as the Philippine Journal of Science, the International Journal of Technology in Mathematics Education, and the International Journal of Mathematical Education in Science and Technology. If you are interested in reading these papers, there are links to these papers in our website. So our math apps are of two types. One is one that runs on an Android device with sizes from 3 MB to 50 MB, and this may also run on computers using a free Android emulator such as BlueStacks. The Android emulator can easily be downloaded from the internet as well. So what you see on the screen on the right side is an interface. This is how the apps look like when arranged and downloaded from the site and in the Android emulator interface. So the second type of app is a GeoGebra applet. So these do not require installation and can be opened directly using an internet browser. So the apps, the GeoGebra apps, can run not only on Android device but also on an iOS system. So later on, I'll also be demonstrating a particular application that runs on GeoGebra. So this is the Math Plus website, and this is our the URL for our website, what you see on the screen. And if you visit the site, this is the interface you will see. So for example, for grade 7 to 10, the topics are designed and are organized this way for each grade level. And accompanying each app is a teaching guide, such as what you see on the screen. So this is an example of a teaching guide for grade level, grade 7, quarter 2. So there is a suggested procedure as how one would proceed using the app, and some guide questions for teacher as he or she prepares the lesson. Now, we also have a particular portion on the website where you can check which app will fit a particular most essential learning competency. So here at the top, you see something like this arranged by grade level. And if you click that portion, you have this kind of table. So here there's grade 9 mathematics, the most essential learning competency, what duration in the curriculum, and what is the particular app. So if you see something like these statistics, this is the app, and GGB, that refers to a GeoGebra applet. And what is the accompanying teaching guide title? So this is supposed to guide the teacher as to what particular app may be useful for a particular lesson. So if you have questions, later we have the chance in the Q&A, but also as you proceed in preparing your lesson, and if you have any question or concern, please do not hesitate to contact us. So you can write an email in this particular portion of the website. So I will end my presentation here. And I would like to now introduce the next speaker. So, who will be Dr. Mark Loyola, who will be talking about a particular application, which is Drawline. Thank you very much.
Good morning once again, everyone. I am Mark Loyola, and today I'll give a demo of the Drawline app, one of our mobile applications for coordinate geometry. But before we dive into the demo, some pedagogical information first related to the app. In the Drawline app, the main goal is to formulate the equation of a line and to graph it given two features, either any 2 points, the y-intercept and slope, or the slope in a point. The app is intended to be used for students in the 8th grade during the first quarter. These are the most essential learning competencies that are addressed with the app. Observe that you can use the app not only for a single lesson, but for a series of lectures involving lines and their equations. The activities you can formulate in conjunction with the app can be introductory in nature, exploratory, or for practice. The app gives you two options pertaining to the source of the givens. You can either supply your own point, slope, or intercept. We recommend this one if you are teaching so that everyone will be dealing with the same givens, or if you are creating a worksheet for independent learning. Or you can let the app generate the givens. We recommend this one for student practice and for independent exploration. Now, let us begin with the demo. If you want to recreate what I'm going to do here today, go to our website, click on the grade 7 to 10 menu, click on the grade 8 button, and download the app to your Android device. The activity I will show you is based on the accompanying teaching guide, also available for download as a PDF file. In this activity, we suppose the teacher already taught an example on how to formulate the equation of a line given 2 points, and would like to further give a more challenging illustration and guide the students in formulating the equation on their own. Let's dive in. We open the Drawline application, choose 2 points, and tap the Create My Own button. Imagine you are teaching this to your students or are creating a worksheet for them. Enter the points A, -2, 4, which will be colored blue later, and the point B, 3, 5, which will be in yellow. Click OK. Plot the points A and B on the screen. If you plot the point correctly, you'll hear a sound. If not, you'll hear nothing and no point will be plotted. Click on this point, no effect. Click here, no effect. Here, no effect. But we click on the point 3, 5. You'll hear a sound and you'll see the point. Now drag point A to point B or point B to point A in order to draw the line. As you have seen, the shade of line draw here turned from red to green, right? That means we are on the right track. Of course, to formulate the equation of the line, you need the slope and the y-intercept. You can use the 2 points to calculate the slope. Count how many units vertically and how many units horizontally you need to move one of the 2 points to the other. Begin with the point A on the left. Here, A has to move 1 unit upward and 5 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To go from point A to point B. So rise over run, that will give us 1 over 5. Now we click on M. Then we enter the value 1 over 5. Click OK, and you'll hear the correct sound again. Also, notice here that the red shade here of the slope turned from red to green. The next step now is to identify the y-intercept. Take note, in some cases, the y-intercept can be easily identified because that will just be the intersection of the y-axis with the line we're plotting. Sometimes, like what we have here, is not that apparent. So, we do some computations first in order to find the y-intercept b. So, we consider the incomplete equation of the line, plug in the values -2 for x and 4 for y. Solving for b, we get 22/5. So we now go back to our app. We click on b, put 22/5, click OK. Voila! Congratulations, we are done with the activity. Now for the students, they can do some independent work as well. For example, click on y-intercept and slope. This time, click generate. So the app will be the one giving the slope and the y-intercept. Now starting with the blue point, we need to get another point on the line. So we can use the slope here. -7/8. That means we can go -7 units down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 8 units to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Click on that point. That will be another point on the line. Then we can draw the line connecting the 2 points. So that will be our line. Now the y-intercept, that will just be the y-coordinate of the blue point, which is equal to 6. So we click on B here, enter the value here. Take note, 6 is also equal to 12/2. So if you want to be challenged, you can also write 12/2 here. Click OK, and we get the congratulations prompt once again. As you have seen, there are different options on how to design your own lesson or activity using the app as an accompaniment. We hope that you can look at the different creative ways in incorporating the app for blended learning. As you will eventually realize after playing with the app, that the app is good for both guided and independent learning, online and offline learning, on-site and off-site teaching, and synchronous and asynchronous sessions. That ends my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mark Loyola. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Alva Aberin, who will give a demo on the AlgebOps and the GeoMatch apps. Dr. Aberin. So Dr. Aberin experiencing some technical difficulties. Will you be back soon, Dr. Aberin? We have any questions about the previous presentations? Please type in your questions in the comment section, and we'll try to answer your questions later during the Q&A portion of this webinar. So since Dr. Aberin is experiencing some technical trouble, may we now call on Dr. Ninette de las Peñas, who will give a demo on the different proving apps. Hello, Dr. De Las Peñas. Welcome back.
Hello. Good morning once again, Dr. Sarmiento. While Dr. Aberin is probably trying to go back online, I'll now proceed to share with everyone the proving apps that we have created. So, when we were discussing the creation of these apps and we were also interviewing teachers, one of the topics that we agreed on was quite challenging to be taught to high school students is that are proving theorems or proving mathematical statements. Aside from the fact that students really had difficulty on this particular topic, it was also hard to make them interested into learning more about proving in geometry particularly. So what we decided then is to create an app. So we felt that it would be interesting for the student to supplement their learning in mathematics with an app that will focus on mathematical proofs. So this is what I'll talk about today. Now, when designing apps with the use of technology, one of the important features is an app can be created using a framework embedded, say, in a software, which is called the dynamic geometry framework. So, dynamic geometry has been a natural platform for students to test and learn conjectures, as it allows them to manipulate representations. So one can play around with properties of geometric figures such as lines, polygons, observe what's happening to the feature, and formulate conjectures. Now, using a dynamic geometry software such as GeoGebra, which has the dynamic geometry framework embedded in the software, so it is easy for one to create mathematical applications that will highlight conjecture formulation or conjecture making by observing properties of different geometric figures. Now, you probably have heard of GeoGebra. So one can download the software freely from the internet. One just goes to the GeoGebra website. So you can download the software to a laptop and a computer, or even in a tablet or a phone. And you can also download the GeoGebra app, as I explained earlier, without even downloading the software itself. But if you already have downloaded the software itself, you can call the app also through the software. Now, actually, GeoGebra doesn't only do geometry. If you go to the website, you can download the GeoGebra suite. So, and you can download several applications that go with it. So, even one that does a computer algebra system calculator, a 3D calculator, a scientific calculator, and the like. So, for this webinar, I'll be talking about two-column proofs and the app that we have created for this, because the two-column proof remains the most common proof format that's used in secondary school textbooks. While other educators would argue that it seems like the two-column proof is quite rigid in the sense that you are restricted to, having two columns and structuring the proof in this way, it still has an enabling quality that will facilitate greater flexibility in reasoning and proving. And we see a lot of two-column proofs in the grade 9 geometry lessons. And what I'll show today will be one that's for the most essential learning competency for grade 9 quarter 3, Determining the conditions that guarantee a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So in the teaching guide, you can see the procedure and some other comments when you go to the site. So you see this, and you can download the app. So what I'll show today is the app that will prove that opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. Now, I want to emphasize that in the website, there are two kinds of proving app that we created. One which has the answer key, which is what I'll show now, intended for the use of the teacher. And there's also one where uh, you can, so let me just bring now the GeoGebra up. We also have another version where we uh, do not have the answer, and you can use that as an exercise or activity. So this is an example of the GeoGebra app. So we want to prove that opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So here you see these two buttons, so the back button, the forward button. So if one would now like to proceed with the two-column proof, so we expect the two columns that will appear here. So there's the statement and the reason. So let's begin. So let's click this. So the first statement of the theorem appears. So now the boxes here, one would check this. So it says here that check the right arrow as you proceed and check the box to see the animation. So let's look at the animation. Okay, so given, so we now have the corresponding figure. So as we see, this is now a dynamic worksheet. So unlike when you have this in the textbook, what you see is just something static, but here there is a dynamic geometry framework in play. So if we check this box, so there is the given that we have the parallelogram ABCD. Now let's go to line 2. So draw BD. So let's click this one so that the student or the learner sees the animation. So there is now the segment. Okay. So what could be the reason for that? So given this point D and B, one can construct the segment. Through any 2 points, there exists exactly one line. Okay, next step. So it says here, the reason is the definition of a parallelogram. So usually the students have difficulty, okay, what could the possible statement be? So that this is the definition of a parallelogram. So if we animate this, so one can see that you have the blue pair of sides and the red pair of sides. So this gives some hint to the student, okay, and it's color coded. And we see here these symbols. So this tells us that AB is parallel to CD and AD is parallel to CB. So we intend that the animation will guide them as to the statement to formulate. So next step. So alternate, so now we have a parallelogram. So there, we are given the definition of a parallelogram. And the reason here is provided. Alternate interior angles are congruent. So to facilitate as a guide, the animation gives you a pair of angles colored green and purple. And this is indeed the pair of alternate interior angles. So that will give a hint to the student. So we have this pair of angles that are congruent. So that's the corresponding statement. So now, next step. So DB congruent to DB. So the reason is the reflexive property of congruence. So next step. we have the angle side angle congruence postulate. So this congruence postulate tells us there are two triangles that are congruent, possibly because of the angle side and angle correspondence. So if the student clicks this, there's the first angle, then the side, and the other angle. So you see the included angle between the included side between the two pairs of angles, and then you now have the two triangles. So that will give some hint, no? So that we have these two triangles, the green triangles that was animated. These two triangles are congruent because of the angle, the green pair, then the included side, and the purple pair. And we are nearing the end of the proof. So there. So if the student clicks this, so it gives the a pair of blue triangles and a highlighted side. And one can observe that this is the side that we have to prove to be congruent. And the animation of the pair of triangles sorts of gives us a hint that we're talking of two triangles that are congruent, and the corresponding parts of the congruent triangles are congruent. So that's the end of the proof. So this is an example of an app which serves like a teaching guide, and we have a version of this without the answers. And there are also other apps that are in the website. So if you want to give this as the lesson for the day, then maybe as a homework you can ask them to prove the converse. So there is the app that you can download from the website and give that as an example. Now I want to also mention, okay, so and I want to invite all the teachers who are here that you can actually create a similar app like this for maybe other theorems. And what's good if you download the GeoGebra applet and run it from the GeoGebra software, you can see here several parts and tools. And I want to also show you here there's a view menu. So when you go to construction protocol, you can see how I have created this app. Okay. Here are the step by step, and you can play this. I just do not have time today. You can play this and you can see how I have created this particular application. And maybe, and I'm sure that you will be able to create other similar proving activities using this as a template. So I think with this, I will end my talk. And if you have questions about GeoGebra and how this will be used, because we have several GeoGebra applets. Actually, right now in our website for high school, we already have about uh, 10 up 100 apps that are there, both GeoGebra apps. And if you look at a particular application, there are several levels, and a level could be for grade 7, and then the next level could be for grade 8. So I invite you to explore the apps that we have in the website. So I'll end my presentation here, and I'll try to see if Dr. Aberin is already back, or if not, okay, there. Hi, Dr.
Hi,
Alva. You're
finally.
back. Yes, so I'm glad to know that you're back. So I turn
Yeah,
the floor to.
some small glitch.
So thank you.
Okay. Good morning to everyone, to all the participants in this webinar. I'm Alva Berin, and I'll be doing a demonstration of two mathematical apps for you today. These apps are available in the website that was described to you. Okay, do you see my slides now? Okay, so the first one is called GeoMatch. Excuse me. Okay. Um, this app is to be used or can be used in the teaching of the different types of triangles and quadrilaterals. Okay, it is an app which can provide an opportunity for students to master the definitions and properties of triangles and quadrilaterals, the different quadrilaterals in a gameplay environment. So, ano to, maglalaro yung mga bata. Okay? So, this is how the app looks like. Like, it was mentioned a while ago that if you do not download this into your Android or into your cell phone, pwedeng PC, but you just need the emulator. And one of the emulators is this, no, BlueStacks. Okay. The way to download the BlueStacks and how it is played in PC is also available in the website. Okay, so let's play our GeoMatch. As I've said, there are two categories, triangle and quadrilateral. So let's try the triangle. So when you click on the triangles, it leads you to uh, an interface that you would choose the speed of the game. So slow, normal, or fast. This will this refers to how fast the figures will appear on screen. Okay, so for our demo, we shall use normal. So let's click normal. And then after that, when if you're ready, we can now start. Okay, so we see here that there is a description below and figures appearing on top. The the app is called GeoMatch because you have to match the description to the figures appearing on the screen. So you just tap it, okay? And then note the description changes. It's now equilateral. So which of these is an equilateral triangle? Then click on that as well. So for every correct answer, you earn a point, okay? But if you had an incorrect answer, so let's say we click this, it says equilateral, but you click this one, oh, sorry, equiangular already. So when you click this, that's a buzzing sign. There is a buzzing sound, and your lives, number of lives, is reduced by 1. Okay, so you only have a total of 3 lives, and when you use that up, it's game over. Okay, so also the game ends if the screen is filled up with figures and there's no more time for you to choose the figure. Okay, so that's how simple the game is. So it's game over. Now a score will be given after your game. So my score is 5 here, and it also shows the top scores for this category. Okay, so that's how simple the game is for triangle. Now the same set of rules is applied for quadrilateral. So let's back that, go to the first menu. If you click on quadrilaterals, you again show the or choose the speed. Let's try fast naman. And then you're ready, we start. So the same uh, conditions apply. There is a description here, and then you choose the figure appearing on the screen that satisfies this condition. Okay, so if you notice, it is not only descriptions are given, not only the name of the quadrilateral. So it will really allow your students to recall the properties
of all the quadrilaterals that they have learned in class. Okay? So I hope you would be able to use this and introduce this to your students so they will have that opportunity to be well versed with the um, different types of triangles and quadrilaterals together with the properties. Also, we are also planning to upgrade this game such that it will cover other topics in geometry. But the idea is still the same, matching a description to a figure. Okay, so that is the first app, GeoMatch. The second one, okay, the second one is an app which you can use in algebra. Okay, we hope that you would find this appropriate to use in the teaching of addition and subtraction of integers or of polynomials in grade 7. Okay. So AlgeOps is an app which provides a visualization of addition and subtraction of integers and polynomials. It is based on the neutralization model of adding and subtracting integers. That is, you get a zero when a number and it's negative, or we call additive inverse, are added together or put together. So when you open the AlgeOps, you have this screen, no? A simple screen, which allows you to choose between the add option or the subtract option. So for a first demo, we choose add option. All right. So you see here two pictorial expressions that are shown on the top of the screen, uh, above the left panel and the right side panel. Okay, the goal is to add these two expressions, 5 red boxes, 5 green balloons with 1 red box and 2 green balloons. And we'll use the app to get the answer. Um, and to do that, we do the construction. That means we construct this expression on this panel. And we use the plus button and the minus button for each shape or for each figure, for the box and for the balloon. We use the plus button if we want to create a green figure. And we use the minus button if you want to create a red figure. So let me show you that. You want to have 5 red boxes. So we go to the box and click on the minus 5 times. So there you go. You have 5 red boxes on the left panel. Next, we want the 5 green balloons. So that's green. So we choose the plus button of the balloon, clicking it 5 times as well. All right. So we're done with the left side panel. We do the same thing for the uh, for the left panel, and then we do the same thing for the right panel, which is 1 red box. So click on the minus button for the box once, and then 2 green balloons. So that's the plus button of the balloon. So clicking that 2 times. Okay. You know that you have constructed correctly if two number lines appear below. Okay, one for the box and one for the balloon. This is where you will encode your answer. Now, since you want to add 5 red boxes and 1 red box, the answer is on the screen. No? You have a total of 6. So encode that in the number line for the box. Do that by dragging the cursor to the left until -6. And there we go. Do the same thing for the balloons. All in all, you have how many? 7 green balloons. So drag this to the right until 7. And there you go. Okay, after encoding your answers, you can verify your answer and by clicking check, and you're given a feedback that you are correct. Excuse me. Now, we see here the visualization of certain concepts. No? As I've said a while ago, the most of our apps are based on some theories of cognitive load theory, and one of which is on representation and providing a link. The app provides a link of the visual of red with negative numbers. The green is associated with the positive numbers, uh, and that the green color or the positive is shown to be to the right of the number line, and the negative associated with the red color is to the left of zero in the number line. This app also emphasizes or illustrates the addition of the same kind, boxes with boxes, balloons with balloons. Come to think of it, that is the rule that we tell our students, that we only add like terms. In this case, the like terms are in the form of boxes and balloons. All right, so that's a first example. Now, let's have another example wherein you have boxes and balloons of different colors. No? This means you have a positive number and a negative number being joined together or added together. And we'll see in a while the neutralization model that I mentioned a while ago. So again, we construct the four red boxes, clicking on the minus button four times. There we go. One red balloon, clicking on the minus button of the balloon once, and there we have it. Next, on the right side panel, we have three green boxes. So clicking this three times. There we go. And lastly, four green balloons. One, two, three, and four. Okay. Now, uh, after constructing the correct number of shapes for both sides of the panel, you will see a neutralization of positive and negative numbers. That is, if you have a pair of red and green of the same kind, they will disappear. So that's one pair. Notice there's also a second pair over here, and that should also disappear. For our demonstration, uh, uh, there is a lag or a pause. No? But when you are using the AlgeOps, it is done right away. Okay, the neutralization is seen right away. So and then we have a third, okay, this pair, and that too will disappear. Okay, that's for the box. Now for the balloons, there's also a red and a green pair that will neutralize each other, and they will offset each other. Okay. Now after the neutralization, the number lines will again appear for you to encode your answer. In this case, four red boxes added to three green boxes results to one red box. So we encode that, drag your cursor again to the left, -1. Okay? And then one red balloon added to four green balloons. Then you drag this one. Your answer is three green balloons. So you drag this to the other side. Now suppose you had an error. You put in four. And if you verify, you check, the system will say you are incorrect. And it will highlight the place where your cursor should be. So it should only be three. Okay? So that's how addition of uh, polynomials may be taught using the AlgeOps. And I hope that you would kind of appreciate that there is a no association. If there are more than red boxes, the answer will be red. And if there are more than green balloons, the answer will be green. All right? Okay, so that is for your addition. Now, for subtraction, we choose the subtract option. We click that. And we now have a different kind of interface. The main screen will have this figure. Okay, and then notice there are also an expression on top. Okay, this screen actually represents what? It represents the three red boxes are symbolized by negative 3x. And the one balloon, green balloon, is symbolized at plus 1. And then since you want to remove, so that is subtraction, remove two red boxes. So that's symbolized as minus 2x. And you also remove one green balloon. So that is also plus 1 over there. Okay. So since you want to remove this figures, you will now use these buttons on the right side. Okay, so minus button removes means removing a green or red balloon. Minus buttons for the balloon means removing one a green and or a red balloon. Okay, but what we want is to remove two red boxes. So we go to the red box and remove it two boxes. So we click it two times. And you see that the two red boxes disappear. You also want to remove one green balloon. So click the minus button of the green balloon. And there you go. Again, the number line appears if you have done the correct processes or correct actions. All right, so we can now encode your answer, which is one red box. And so we drag it to the left, and there you go. And you can verify your answer, and it says you are correct. All right, so uh, that's one example for the subtraction. Let's have another one. Wherein you have uh, red, uh, six green boxes and two red balloons, and you remove three green balloons. Let us first symbolize this as positive 6x because you have six green boxes and two red balloons, so that is the negative 2 symbolized as that. Then you remove three green balloons, so that's minus 3. All right, so I hope you see the problem here. You don't see any green balloons in your screen, right? So you have to introduce the green balloons there. And how is that done? If you look down here, okay, you have the plus button of the green and red balloon. Okay, so if you click that, notice that there is a green and red balloon appearing on your screen. Now that action is actually an addition of what? Addition of 0, because as we mentioned a while ago, a green and a red offset each other. No, so that is just your 0. So in a way, it's the reverse of the action done that you have seen in the addition of polynomials a while ago. Okay, but we need three green balloons. So that means we press this again 2 times. So all in all, you'll have three green balloons over there already. So with that, you can now remove it. No, you can now remove this three green balloons by pressing your minus button for the green balloon 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, and there you go. So naalis na yung green balloons. So you have done the process or the actions correctly because the number lines are now appearing here. So our answer is 6 uh, green boxes, so you can drag it there, and then 5 red balloons, so you drag it there. So you can encode that answer. All right, now, as I end this demonstration, I want to emphasize what happened in the process of subtraction. Okay, so you would appreciate this visualization. Originally, di ba, we started with this problem. Okay, and we symbolize it as, well, we had the symbolization a while ago. But we ended up with this result. Okay, you want to remove 3 green balloons, but what happened is that you added 3 red. Removing 3 green resulted to adding 3 red. Okay, now come to think of it, isn't that your rule, the rule that we give our students? Okay, that is, when subtracting polynomials, what do? You change your subtraction to addition, and the subtrahend is changed to its additive inverse. And that is clearly symbolized or visualized in the algebras. Removing 3 green results to adding 3 red. Okay, removing 3 is the same thing as adding its additive inverse, -3. Okay. Now, this is one of the affordances of the algebras, which is to provide a visualization of the rules and procedures that we give our students. No? And studies have shown that when students are exposed to different representations of concepts, they are more likely to remember, understand, and appreciate the ideas that they encounter. All right? Now, so we hope that AlgaOps and GeoMatch may be applied or may be integrated in the teaching of your lessons in algebra and in geometry. Okay, so that ends my part. Now I would like to call uh, Dr. Mark Tolentino, and he will show you our one of the components of our project called Censo Escuela Pilipinas. Okay, go ahead, Mark.
Greetings to all the teachers who are with us today in this webinar. In this part of the program, please allow me to present to you an upcoming component of our project, which we previously referred to as the Census at School Philippines, but now we're calling it the Censo Escuela Pilipinas in Tagalog. So we call it SEP for short. So SEP is an online database or repository of data that are relevant and authentic that students and teachers can access for statistics learning and teaching. So what I'm about to present to you is a preview of what's to come for SEP. As you can see on the screen, there are 3 user types that can access the website. We have the teacher, the student, and the guest. So let me start with the guest first. The guest can access some parts of the website without needing any account. So that's the guest in particular can access the survey that is housed within the website. So I'll discuss more about that later. And the guest can also access some random samples from the database that will be housed in this website. Now, I mentioned earlier that this website or this database that will be in this website is going to contain relevant and authentic data. So let me discuss that as follows. So students will be able to access this website through their teachers. So once their teachers have registered with the website, the teachers can generate student codes, and these student codes the students can use to access the website. Now, as you can see, for the students, they have these 3 buttons here that they have on their homepage in the website. So the first one, which is about taking the survey. So this is actually where the relevant and authentic data will come from. So the database that will be housed in this website is essentially built for and by students. So what's going to happen is the student will take a survey, a 30-question survey, and their responses to the survey will become part of the database. So because the students themselves answered the survey, it's immediately relatable to them. It's something that the questions, they've seen them, they know their answers, and so it's easier for them to formulate questions that they can answer using statistics. Moreover, the survey will contain questions that are relevant to the students. So the questions not just about their physical characteristics like height or weight or age, but also about their hobbies, the games they play, or the TV shows they watch, or even the food they eat. There are even interactive or game type questions integrated in this survey. So it's immediately more relatable to them and something that they can find exciting so that they have a more enriching experience in doing statistics. So once they've answered the survey, of course, they can access the database. So in this database, they can access a sample of the data that they can use for any purpose related to their statistics learning. So they can get a sample to practice with, like computing, for example, some measures of central tendency. They can get a random sample and practice with that, or they can access a sample for their project, or maybe for their quiz or their homework, they can access the data. So the survey will look like this. So just a preview of that. And then aside from the survey and accessing data, there will also be worksheets that students can access. And these worksheets are going to be in tandem with the teaching guides that the teachers will have access to. So I'll discuss a bit more about that later. So now moving on to the teacher. So the teacher will have to register with the website so they can get a username and a password. And then they can access the website. And this is what they'll see once they're in. So first, they can manage their classes. So what this means is they can create a class, like they can put a class name and the number of students, and the website will automatically generate student codes that the teacher can distribute to the students so that the students can access the website. Of course, the teacher can view the survey, so they know what are the questions being asked to the student so that they can formulate their own activities or their own assessments or maybe exercises based on those questions. And then, similar to the students, the teachers will have access to the data. Of course, the teachers can download data sets for their quizzes or for student projects or even for examples and illustrations that they will use in class. And then there will also be teaching guides, as I mentioned earlier. These will work in tandem with the student worksheets. So this is how that's going to look. And this is an example of a teaching guide for grade 11 or 12, quarter 3. So this one is about the central limit theorem. So as you are familiar, if you are teaching this statistics for grades 11 and 12, the central limit theorem is very important in random sampling because it allows you to compute probabilities of sums and averages of a random sample using the normal distribution. So it's very important for students to understand and get more convinced as to why the central limit theorem works. So in this activity, that's the idea, that's the goal, which is to have the students give the students this experience of working with real data and seeing how this data actually will look like the normal distribution or will look normally distributed after some transformations. So far, all the teaching guides that we have designed as of now are all aligned with the most essential learning competencies set by DepEd. So you can see some of them on the screen. These are for grade 7 to 12. Okay. And finally, so this is the last part of this preview. So in the website, this is how the access data page will look like. So the user, whether it's a teacher, a student, or a guest, can specify the year as to that they want to access. They can set their sample size. So depending on the activity that they're gonna do, they can select a smaller sample size or a bigger sample size. And then they can also specify what variables in the database they actually want access to. And the website will also feature this uh, quick tabulation and visualization of the data that they're trying to access. So the purpose of this is to give the user an idea or an impression about what is it that the data that they are accessing, so they know if it's right for their intended purpose. So this is the end of the preview. So as I mentioned, Censo Escuela Pilipinas or SEP is still under development, but we really expect the website to be fully operational in the coming months. So as early as now, we want to take this chance to invite you and your classes through you to participate in this SEP so that together we can build a more vibrant, more exciting, um, relatable experience in learning statistics for our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mark Tolentino, for your presentation on the Censo Escuela Pilipinas. So we are now in the question and answer portion of our webinar. May I request Dr. Ninette de las Peñas, Dr. Alba Aberin to be on stage. Thank you very much to those who sent in their questions. We'll try to answer them. You can still send your question. So the first question is, how can we download the apps? Dr. De Las Peñas, please answer. You don't have audio.
Is this clear now? Yeah.
Yes.
Can you? Okay. Thank you so much. So, again, good morning to all the teachers who are listening. So, okay, to answer your question, how can we download the apps? So, it depends on the kind of app that you're downloading. So, if you are going to download the Android app, so you can download this directly to your cell phone if you have an Android device or a tablet, yeah. But if you are now in a computer or a laptop, you need to download the emulator. Now, I want to mention that right now, what we have are the apps for the Android devices only. So if you are in an operating system that's iOS, BlueStacks I think works on the Android, not on a Mac, say for example, or it will work for other types of laptops or. Now for the GeoGebra applet, this is one that you can download for either the iOS or the Android the system, no? So yun, you just go to the site, download it immediately. It should work directly yung GeoGebra applet as well. So I hope I answered your question. The question.
Thank you very much, Dr. De Las Peñas. Also, these apps are free, no? You can freely
Yes,
download
that
them. No?
you can freely download them.
Okay, for,
The emulator in GeoGebra is free as well, right? So
yeah. So you can see the website, the address.
yeah.
Next question, please.
Excuse me.
Can the apps be used for assessment, like quizzes? Dr. Abeline?
Yes, let me answer that. Um, just excuse my coughing spell. Uh, well, most of the apps are really designed for exploration, but it won't or discovery uh, of rules and concepts, definitions. But um, uh, we are suggesting now that uh, you can use the apps for formative assessment because uh, the student can just readily go over the apps at any time, especially ngayon, no, na they can just access it from the web. Uh, it's one way, kumbaga, it's aside from us giving you mga worksheets, no, activity sheets that we give them, in a way, yung generation of questions from the apps are already the uh, questions that we list down on our activity sheets. So hindi pa tayo mahihirapan. Um, so as a form of, rather as an assessment, it can fall under its formative.
So maybe I can also add, Dr. Sarmiento,
Yes,
Dr.
please.
Aberin. So for example, the app that I showed earlier on geometry. So you can use probably as an assessment another like the converse, right? Okay. So what the student can do is play with the app, and then maybe you can ask them to write the answers on say a sheet of paper during a particular time. And also the app showed earlier by Dr. Loyola. Okay, so I think that could also be an aid for some activities, no, that could be graded as well. So please watch out because we are also designing more apps. So like we are trying to design one now that's on factoring and supposed to be the app can also generate a lot of questions. Instead of thinking of different kinds of equations to factor, then the app will give that. That could be used for assessment as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, please. Will there be apps for all the quarters? Uh, who will answer the question? Dr. Aberin?
Um, we recognize that not all the topics in all the quarters, no, need technology rin. So that's one of uh, constraint, no, in creating apps. Okay, but I think it will span through all the quarters. Like there is an app for algebra, for geometry. What else? What are the other strands?
Number.
Statistics, of course. Yeah, there. Though we did not present here the app on statistics, if you look at uh, go to the website, no, there is an app for statistics as well. So in a way that it covers na certain topics in the different quarters.
Okay. Do you,
Yeah,
do you have something
that's
to add, Dr. De Las Peñas?
I think wala naman. Wala
Oh,
na, yeah. Nasagot na ni Dr. Abel.
okay, so let's now go to our next question. I'm not used to teaching with technology. Do you have some tips for me, Dr. De Las Peñas?
Okay, so uh, thank you for that question. As I also showed you earlier, no, that we have the teaching guides, no, for the grade 7 to 10 apps. So that's really intended to really guide the teacher kung papaano gamitin yung app. And yeah, please I know it's quite challenging, especially if you are beginning. But aside from our guide that's there, if you have questions, you can always, contact us. But we there. But for I think for grades 1 to 6, we also have some. We're going to upload some videos, no? Yeah. So and I think later for say, we are probably thinking of 1 or 2 videos as well that we will be uploading for grade 7 to 10. So just watch out for those, and those are the things that we could do to help you uh, integrate the use of technology in your teaching, and also the papers that I showed you earlier. So you can go to the site. Meron kami dong konting, some description, pedagogy or what as to how technology is best incorporated. So hopefully this could help you as well.
Thank you very much.
So let
Next
me just
question.
add,
Okay.
let me
Yes,
just add
please.
na, uh, one tip in integrating the technology in your teaching is just to start it. Just to start. It can be daunting at first, but uh, one really has to start somewhere. And I think this scenario, the situation we are in, really forces us to start it. So it can be daunting, but we have I mean, your division has given you a lot of tools to use. So just choose one and then start with it. No? Just persevere on it and start using it.
At saka paglaruan yung mga apps, 'di ba, Dr. Alva? Basta
Mhm.
laro lang din, laruin lang nila at saka tingnan lang nila yung
So
mga apps.
that's the way you
Yeah,
can be familiar
yeah,
with the
yeah.
app.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you. We have time for two more questions. Our next question is, okay, may nasabi kanina na the app will help develop learning if used frequently. How often would you recommend using the app to the students? Dr. Aberin?
As often as they can. No? Instead of them playing with ML, ano pa bang mga games nila ngayon, they can shift to doing the math apps. Okay, so that the uh, the concepts or the skills that we need them to learn will be ingrained. No? Mas marami, mas madalas, mas mabuti.
Yes. Do you have something to add, Dr. De Las Peñas?
Sana like kunyari kanina yung pinakita ni Dr. Loyola, yun marami namang iba-ibang ano no, ah, parang sa isang app may ilang level. Basta sige, explore lang sila. Maybe a few minutes a day, during the week when studying the lesson. I think that's okay.
Okay. Our last question. My phone is not high-tech and sophisticated. Can I download the apps easily? Dr. De Las Peñas, please answer.
Oh yeah, so we really try to ensure that the apps will run on a phone that's not so sophisticated. Earlier in my presentation, I said that one of the things that we really considered was how accessible will it be, So kaya kahit yung mga hindi masyadong sophisticated na phone, dapat madi-display lang din yung mga graphics and everything clearly and properly. So yun. So that's what we try to make sure when we design the apps.
Yeah. So thank you
I
very
think
much.
din, yeah, sorry, may I just
Yes,
add?
please.
Yeah, and I also think that for the GeoGebra applet, no, kasi baka you have already downloaded it, a GeoGebra app before, and then may mga version yan. So I think it should work as well sa ibang versions na 5 yata, at least a GeoGebra 5, if you call it from the from the software itself.
Okay, thank you very much. So that ends our question and answer portion for this webinar. If you have other questions, especially when you're already using the app, as Dr. De Las Peñas mentioned in her presentation, you just contact us through the website by sending us an email, and we will do our best to answer your questions quickly. Okay. So, on behalf of the project team, unless Dr. De Las Peñas, you want to say something?
Uh, well, first again, I'll have to thank a lot of people. So Dr. Gayola and Miss Elisa, they have really been helpful, collaborating with us. So thank you once again. And also earlier, I think I read from one of the comments that if in the future there's a need for us to, help out as well, then we'll try to see what we could do to help each other. Sama-sama po tayo dito sa challenge na ito as teachers, kung paano po natin matulungan ang mga estudyante natin, especially sa time na ito. How do we make the most of the resources that we have, working from home, studying from home. So, yun po. That's all I have to say. And I would like to, on behalf of the rest of the team as well, to thank the teachers for joining us today.
Yes, thank you very much. So, to give the closing remarks, I will now turn you over to Dr. Elisa Cerveza, OIC Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Chief Education Supervisor. Hello, Ma'am Elisa.
Ah, Hello po. On behalf of our OICSDS, Ma'am Cheryl Gayola, the secondary principals and all secondary teachers of SDO Marikina, we would like to express our gratitude and appreciation to the Ateneo Math App project team members, no, headed by Dr. Maria Luis Antoinette de las Peñas, and to all the members po, for sharing with us these math apps. The effort you put into this project is indeed commendable. Much more, for sharing this with our teachers and our students. We believe po that we can prematurely say that math as a subject or one of the subjects in the secondary schools now will become more interesting for our students. Alam naman po natin, di po ba, pag play-based po ang means or mode of learning po or instruction, definitely our students will be more engaged and will be more interested. Again, this research-based project which you shared with us this morning will definitely be used by all our teachers and our students po. Maraming salamat po. Instead of you, Ma'am Luis, Dr. Luis, thanking us, it should be SDO Marikina who should really express our deep gratitude and appreciation. Magandang umaga po. Maraming salamat for being our partners, one of our partners. Magandang umaga. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay po ang Ateneo Team Math Apps Project Team. Thank you po.